Hello and welcome to See You Next Tuesday. Today I'm going to be reading a Muppet Show fan fiction. I don't know why, I just find them very funny and a bit weird and cringy. So this one's called Kiss It All Better by Moon Bunny 2002. Miss Piggy comforts Kermit after he has had a really bad day. So here we go. Disclaimer. I originally wrote this on my AO3, but I decided to add a bit more to it. This was based on an OTP prompt generator, and I thought it would make a cute story. The Muppets belong to Disney and Jim Henson. I just wrote this as a fun story. Right, so. There we go. Kermit never really considered himself to be much of a crier. He always tried to put on a brave face for the rest of the Muppets. There were times when he consoled Fozzie, Gonzo, and even Miss Piggy during their tearful moments, but he never thought he'd be on the receiving end of that until one fateful night. It had been a particularly stressful day, and Kermit the Frog was at his limits. The guests for that night's show had to leave early for an emergency, in quotation marks. And it was going to cost another $1,000 to repair the Muppets Theatre after Gonzo's latest stunt. At this point, the only thing Kermit wanted to do was curl up under his desk and cry. When the show finally ended for the night, Kermit and Miss Piggy headed back to the boarding house where all the Muppets lived under one roof. Kermit could feel a little lump starting to swell in his throat. An awkward silence hung in the air throughout the drive home. Piggy noticed something was wrong. Her beloved frog was usually cheerful, talking about the events of the show that had occurred during the day, even on the ride home, but this time he was silent. She held her tongue, not wanting to press the issue. She could tell Kermit was upset and didn't want to make it worse. When they finally arrived home, Kermit excused himself, went upstairs to the bedroom he and Miss Piggy shared. The urge to cry was growing even stronger, and he just needed some space to breathe. We've all been there, Kermit. Kermit closed the door behind him and sat on the bed. For about 10 minutes, the frog breathed heavily as he tried to keep his composure, fighting back the imminent tears. He was the leader of the Muppets, and he couldn't just break down into a sobbing mess, even though there were many times like this where he'd wanted to. Then there was a soft knock on the door. Kermit? Are you in there? Piggy asked softly as she opened the bedroom door. That was when she noticed Kermit's eyes were starting to fill with tears. Piggy immediately rushed over, enveloping him in a hug. Kermit just couldn't hold it anymore, and he began to sob under her. Sob harder and harder. All of the tears he had been holding in that night were pouring out of his eyes. It's okay, Kermit. Just let it all out, Piggy whispered while she rubbed his trembling back. It really broke her heart to see her beloved frog crying, even if it was a rare occurrence. She released him from the hug and sat next to him on the bed. Do you want to talk about what's making you cry? Piggy asked Kermit, as he looked up, sniffing. Today's just been a disaster, he said, his voice shaky. I know, she replied, wiping away Kermit's tears. It's okay if you have to cry. It hurts more holding it in. So just let it out. Piggy whispered as she pulled Kermit closer to her and gently kissed the tear-stained cheeks. He nuzzled against her shoulder and let the tears flow freely, occasionally breaking the silence with a quiet squeak or sob here and there. Soon Kermit was tired out, but he did feel a lot better after having a good old cry. He fell asleep, cuddled up to Miss Piggy, hoping tomorrow would be a better day. I'm sure it will be, Kermit. So, yeah, thank you, Moon Bunny 2002. That's really put a bit of a sad side onto the fun that is the Muppets. Yeah, it's nice how people can really grind these things into the ground, isn't it? Well, anyway, thank you for listening. I've got a new microphone, so the reason why I'm making these is to try and get the microphone settings right, make sure there's no hissing, popping, explosions, as they say. But we'll see how we get on. So thank you for listening. Oh, and subscribe if you want. You don't have to.